So any cardstock will do. I got this at, I believe, Hobby Lobby, but it's by the Paper Studio. And you're just going to apply it to your mat and cut your scales according to your program settings. So now you're just going to take your time and weed out your scales, and the negative of the weeding, save and put that to the side because you can always use it as a stencil later. And you're probably wondering where I got my scales from. There are many different ways you can get scales. I got mine off of Etsy. Of course, you can always do a Google search of mermaid scales and make your own. But sometimes I like to just throw a little support out to some Etsy shops, and the file was probably like $2 max. So I like to do that and get some scales and size them according to whichever cup that I'll be using. And today we're using a 20-ounce skinny that we got from the Steel Magnolia company. I will link all of the items that I used in today's video below. Some of the products in the video you'll see I've gotten from Hobby Lobby, but usually I get most of my items from Amazon. So now here comes the fun part. You're going to apply your double-sided tape all around the tumbler, and really there is no true wrong way to do this. You're simply just going to apply that layer and then start placing your scales. The only thing that you want to make sure you're doing is that you have them overlapping a little bit. So don't do them. When I first started doing these, I would place my scales right next to each other and it would look so weird. But what you want to do is overlap your scales. And I never really found a video that explained that very well. So I made sure that I took the time to do each row for you to see exactly how it was done. You'll see here also where I tape my second row, I tape it right above the tips of the scales below, and that kind of helps to lay them down. But you'll see later in the video, after we apply all of our scales, we'll still use Mod Podge to taper them down, flatten them down to the actual tumbler. now we're at our last row. We made it. And I know you're like, did she really record the whole process? Yes. And the reason why is because I wanted you to see exactly how you go up each row, each layer of scales, and that some scales may not look right, but if you just keep going, it'll all even out in the end, okay? So just play around with it and get it done. Now we're going to apply our first layer of Mod Podge, and with the Mod Podge, you will just brush it on with a paintbrush or a Mod Podge brush, or you can use your hands. Either way, it's fine. And I say your first layer because you will need to do at the very least 2 layers, letting it dry a minimum of an hour in between, because you want your scales to slick down. You don't want them sticking out or protruding too much, because then you will have to put a lot of epoxy on to cover it. Now, some people like the texture feel of this scale, so they don't do too many coats of epoxy, which is cool. I like that. But I also think you should still put a good couple of layers of Mod Podge down, so that your scales, even though you want to feel that dimension of the tumbler with the scale, you don't want any just jarring, sticking out pieces. So after your layers have completed and you've got it sticking down and flat the way you want it, you're going to spray paint your tumbler white or black. And the reason why I say white or black is because it depends on the design that you're going to be doing. So what I'm doing, a white spray paint will do. But with some mica powders and UV powders, you are better off using a black spray paint. So that's why I said that. And then also, after you have let your paint dry, go ahead and cut off the tips that are on the lip of the tumbler. Now it's time to get ready to design your tumbler, and just design it any way that you want. I'm not going to say much here, so you can kind of just watch my process. But it just really depends on however you want to do your dragon scales. You can do gold, you can do pink, you can do bronze, and add whatever embellishments you want. But just watch me work and see how I do mine. So after these embellishments dry, I'm going to go ahead and apply my first thick layer of epoxy. And just to give my mermaid a little bit more sparkle, I added a light dusting of Wishing Well glitter, and this was a sample from the peachy olive glitters that I ordered that I actually did a haul of, if you want to check that out. Now we're ready to do our flood coat about 4 hours after our initial coat. So go ahead and put another thick layer of epoxy on there, and you really should be good to go after that. Remember, your epoxy needs to cure for about 72 hours. So before you use the cup or hand it off to anyone, you want it to sit and cure after it's quote unquote dried, or after the application has been put on, the last application of epoxy has been put on, for at least 72 hours. That's it. Now you're ready to add your decal. So a monogram, a full name, a quote, whatever you'd like. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you are not subscribed, go ahead and do it right now. Hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, hit that like button as well. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great week.